Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. We're going to start with a little bit of an update from a chap by the name of David Morrell Jr. He's undefeated. He's 6-0. He's in the same weight class as David Benevidez and David Lemieux, who are going toe-to-toe this weekend down in Arizona. And David Benevidez, undefeated, 25-0, I believe, 22 knockouts. David Lemieux, 43 fights, I think 4 losses, roughly speaking. But, you know, he's lost to Billy Joe Saunders, Triple G. But he's going to put up a good fight against David Benevidez. It'll be interesting to see who wins that. But this story relates to another David Morrell Jr., as I said earlier, who's looking to beat David Benevidez, assuming, of course, that David Benevidez is going to win the fight against David Lemieux. So I just want to give you a quick little quote that I thought was rather humorous. Humorous given its brashness and intent, of course. "I came to America to challenge the best fighters in the world like I did internationally in the amateurs," says David Morrell Jr., for my countrymen of Cuba. "When Benevidez and I step into the ring, it will be a monumental showdown, a fight everyone will be clamoring to see. I'm going to knock him out cold and establish myself as the next superstar in boxing." Now, quite frankly, how many of these stories do we go through every single week featuring boxers saying, "I'm going to knock him out cold"? Anyway, I just thought to start the show off today with that. What I thought was a funny story. Can you see I'm just giggling inside? Speaking of giggling, Otto Wallin was rumored last year to be fighting Tyson Fury. Well, now he's going up against Rydell Booker in a fight scheduled for 26th of May to take place in Dearborn, Michigan. It's just outside Detroit in America. WBC number 11 rated heavyweight Otto Wallin says he's taking his upcoming fight with Rydell Booker as seriously as the World Championship fight he's on the verge of securing with 1 or 2 more victories. Right. Sweden's Wallin, who's 23-1 with 14 knockouts, will take on hometown veteran Rydell Booker, who's 26-5-1 with 13 knockouts, in a 10-round main event being promoted by Salida Promotions in Detroit, as I said, on Thursday, May 26th. Tickets are obviously on sale, and did I notice it was on Showtime? I think? No, I've not noticed whether it's streaming or not. Anyway, says Wallin, I always enter the ring knowing I've done all I can in training, and that brings me confidence to perform at my best and makes me willing to do what it takes to win. My preparations for fights, both physically and mentally, are always 100%. This fight doesn't have the magnitude I've been hoping for, but it's great for me to be active. I need to keep developing and to be ready when the bigger fights come. Best known for coming heart-stoppingly close to defeating lineal and world-recognized heavyweight champ Tyson Fury in their September 2019 battle, Wallin says Fury's retirement and the possibility of a rematch disappearing with it don't overall affect the big Swede's mission. He says, "My plan has always been to become heavyweight world champion, so that doesn't change with Fury's potential retirement. I'm here to work my way up the rankings and force the champions to fight me." I just have this to say. Tyson Fury, says Eddie Hearn, will probably be fighting the winner of the Usyk Joshua fight sometime later this year. So Otto Wallin, as we have discussed many times on Talk and Fight, might fight for a championship in 2023. Maybe. First of all, he's got to get past Rydell Booker. Moving along, getting past, we move on to the Czech Republic for a fight taking place in Brno at the TJ Tatram Bohunici. This features Michael Riba and Giorgio Ambrashvili. Holy moly. 2 battle-tested warriors get an opportunity to become a champion on Saturday, May 28th at the TJ Tatran Bohunici in Brno, Czech Republic. Local boxer Michael Riba will take on, here goes, Georgi Abramishvili from Georgia. That would be the country of Georgia, not the state of Georgia, for the vacant Universal Boxing Organization, that's UBO, East Europe light heavyweight title. I have to say they both have a long way to go. All right, Riba's record is 8-9-1. His opposition, who has a lengthy name beginning with A, spots a 14-21-1 ledger. But as I say, they're both going to be challenging each other for a title, courtesy of the UBO. And let me repeat it. It's for the East Europe light heavyweight title. Yes, this is my sarcastic show. But getting a bit more serious. Here we go. Into the women's fighting. Two women battling it out coming up in Guadalajara, Mexico. I'm going to make note of this. June 10th at the Domo Alcada. Marilyn Rivas is going toe-to-toe against Isis Perez. Rivas will defend her WBA World Super Bantamweight title against Isis Perez on Friday, June 10th, to be shown live worldwide on DAZN from Mexico, with the show now taking place at the Domo Alcade in Guadalajara. So that's an association, by the way, with Canelo Promotions and Class E Talento. Rivas, who's 16-4-2 with 10 knockouts, makes the first defense of the belt she landed in her last outing back in February 2020, when she beat Laura Ledesma in Panama City. The Venezuelan became bantamweight champ in 2015 and made 3 defenses since, winning 2 and drawing 1. And makes a welcome return to action as she looks to start a path to becoming a unified and undisputed champ at 122 pounds. Perez, for her part, is 8-5 for 3 knockouts. Will have other ideas, though, and on home turf, the Mexican aims to become a world champion for the first time at the second attempt. The 24-year-old met Yamileth Mercado for the WBC crown in April and bounces straight back into world title action just 2 months later. So, the Rivas clash with Perez is the second world title fight on the bill, with the night topped by WBA Super and Ring Magazine World Light Flyweight champ Hiroto Kaiguchi defending his straps against Esteban Bermudez. And by the way, also in that fight, we're going to see Jorge Castaneda and Eduardo Hernandez, who meet for the WBC International Super Flyweight title in a huge fight for that division. The Texan, Castaneda, who's 15-1 with 11 knockouts, entered the bout on the back of 2 key wins, picking up majority decisions against unbeaten Otto Jones in Florida. And then he traveled over to London, England, and nicked another nail by beating Youssef Kamari in October via majority decision. So it looks like a good bout heading on down into Guadalajara. Quick little quote here from Castaneda. Rocky Hernandez is a good fighter, but he's in my way of becoming a world champion. On June 10th, I'm putting on a spectacular performance and sending a message to the 130-pound division. This fight will set the difference between being a prospect and showing the world I'm a reality, said Hernandez. I'm not losing in my home. This one is for my daughter. Wow. Good stuff. All right, I'm going to move on. If you want more information on that fight, by the way, just go to boxing247.com. Their website has a variety of stories, including this one, and the ones I've been reading previous and the ones I'm about to read. The headline here, Jaime Munguia versus Jimmy Kelly, coming up at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California on the 11th of June. After a triumphant homecoming in Tijuana, Mexico in February, former world champ and undefeated Mexican superstar Jaime Munguia is now 39-0 with 31 knockouts, will return to Anaheim's Honda Center on Saturday, June 11th to face off against former world title challenger Jimmy Killrain Kelly, who's 26-2 with 10 knockouts. He fights out of Manchester, by the way. The 12-round super middleweight fight will stream live on DAZN, including Mexico, said Munguia. I'm very excited to return to Anaheim and fight in front of all the fans against a high-quality English rival like Kelly. It won't be an easy night, but we are preparing very hard. This new edition of Mexico versus England will be very exciting for all fight fans, and I'm convinced that I'll pass this test and be on my way to a world title soon, said Kelly. As a child, I dreamt of fighting in America. That dream came true when I beat the undefeated Kanat Islam. And now Munguia is the number 1 guy at 160 pounds. To be the best, you need to beat the top fighters in the world. June 11th can't come quick enough. Magia is in for the fight of his life. As I said, there's additional information on the Boxing 247 website. Kendrick Ball Jr. versus Angel Camacho Jr. Worcester's own Kendrick Ball Jr., 18-1-2 with 12 knockouts, returns to his hometown on Friday, July 15th, where he will face undefeated Angel Camacho Jr., who's 16-0, fighting out of Providence, Rhode Island, for the New England Super Middleweight Championship. The bout will headline Rivera Promotions Entertainment's New England Future 10 boxing event at the Worcester Palladium. This is the biggest local bout in the past several years, and it's a true New England Championship fight. You have two established fighters, one from Worcester, Massachusetts, the other from Providence, Rhode Island, that are willing to get in the ring to determine who the best in the region is. This fight is about representing their city and state. Three-time two-division world champ, RPE promoter Jose Antonio Rivera commented, RPE is excited to have two top super middleweights in New England fighting each other. This is what boxing is all about. Good stuff. Moving along. Dylan Price versus TBA. The Elevations Event Center in Chester, Pennsylvania will host a fight on the 16th of July featuring Dylan Price. That's a Saturday night. Dylan Price, who calls himself the Real Dill, is an undefeated bantamweight, and he'll go for his first world title when he vies for the NBA World Bantamweight title at, as I said, the Elevations Event Center in Chester, Pennsylvania. The show is promoted by Price Promotions. Dylan the Real Dill Price. All right. Price, who hails from Sicklerville, New Jersey, is 14-0 with 10 knockouts. He's 23 years old and a 5-year professional. And he'll be making his 2022 debut, coming off an 8-round unanimous decision over Edwin Rodriguez. That was back on July 31st, 2021 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And Price's opponent, as I said, for the upcoming world title bout will be announced shortly. Also seeing action in a 6-rounder will be former world title challenger and local favorite Hammerin' Hank Lundy in a junior welterweight bout. Lundy of Philadelphia has a record of 31-10-1 with 14 knockouts. Now 38 years of age, Lundy has been a professional for 16 years and has had a plethora of quality victories. Some of those wins were over Estebel Almirez, Jason Quintron, Richard Abril, Tyrese Hendricks, Omri Lauther, and many others. On the fight also, Naheem Parker, who's 4-0, fighting out of Camden, New Jersey, takes on Seyfullah Wise, who's 4-8 out of Philadelphia. And making his pro debut in a 4-round middleweight bout will be Frankie Lynn out of Chester, Pennsylvania. As I said, all these opponents need to be firmed up, and those announcements will be forthcoming shortly. For the last announcement of the day, I'm going to tell you that Split T Management is very pleased to announce the signing of decorated amateur Javier Zamaron to a management contract. Zamaron is 21 years of age. He fights out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Will compete in the featherweight division. The Split T team really became aware of Javier at the 2021 Golden Gloves, where he was clearly one of the very best prospects. He's a polished guy with power and intelligence, exactly what we're looking for in a young fighter, said David McWhorter of Split T Management. Good stuff. All right, thanks for joining me on Talkin' Fight. Appreciate it. This has been another episode of Boxing News Today. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you later on at 4 p.m. when I join Mike Orr and Cedric Ben for Knuckle Up.